The Umbrella Corporation. Our business is life itself. This podcast episode is brought to you by nothing.
Try it for free.
Today I want to talk to you about something really serious. Something really, really serious. You know how when you open the pack of cornflakes or whatever cereal you eat, there's a bag inside? Why don't they just sell you the bag? Like, why do they have a box on the outside? Why do cats meow when I do my podcast outside? What's up with that? The world is never coming to an end. I want you to know that it's all an illusion. Deepak Chopra will tell you that it's all an illusion, and you all need to get your shit together, because being random on the weekends is noble, and forsaking anything that's good, especially when it's a skirt, is very bad. The truth of the matter is that when you do a weekend warrior thing and you drink the whole weekend and you have a headache, the truth of the matter is that you should sleep. Because oftentimes the science behind economic values, which are not scientific at all, they're just concepts, and not even theories like the theory of gravity or relativity, but it's just a concept. Oftentimes these things perpetrate ignorant wistfulness in the sense of like flowers and beauty. I know I'm laughing, but this is some serious shit here. And you know, the people don't think that there's relevance to any of this, but the public and actually the outcomes of things make it evident that this is important. If you would like to donate to my podcast, you can do so at atlanticradio.blogspot.com. Everybody's asking for money these days. You know, I go to the coffee shop, and when I go to the coffee shop, you know what? I think I already talked about that on this podcast. But as you know, the tip jar situation, I have friends who work where there's a tip jar, and I want you to keep tipping them because they're my friends, but it gets on my nerves for obvious reasons. Like I've said before, because the employers aren't paying their employees enough, so everybody sticks a tip jar out now. And, you know, I was talking to a musician in 2007, and he's a bass player, and he told me that he had lived in the area where I live since 1987. And he said that in 1987, the going rate for musicians was $100 a musician. And we were talking about this in 2007, and he was telling me that the going rate for a live musician, like at a restaurant, is $100 a musician. But he said, back in 1987, $100 was $100. Gasoline was like 98 cents or less. You know, this kind of thing. Back when gasoline was like 98 cents, I lived in California, and there were earthquakes there. And if you've ever experienced an earthquake, you know what I'm talking about. But if you've never experienced one, what is it like? I can give you a brief description. You all know what they are, of course. But the way that what it's like is, imagine you're just chilling, sitting down somewhere, looking at your phone. And are you doing that right now? No. So you're sitting, looking at your phone, and then all of a sudden you hear like 20 diesel trucks going about 60 miles per hour and like 5 Harley Davidsons. And all of a sudden you just hear them like they're coming at you from 300 yards down the street. And they're going about 60 miles per hour, and maybe faster. And then you're like, what the hell is that sound? It sounds like the biggest truck that you've ever heard in your life. And then everything starts to shake. And there's nowhere to run. If you go outside, it's shaking. If you stay indoors, it's shaking. If you go to the bathroom, it's shaking. If you go in the kitchen, it's shaking. So usually when you live somewhere where there's earthquakes, you have a plan. You have a plan of what you're going to do and where you're going to go. And in that plan, wherever you go, it's going to be shaking. And the reason I'm telling you all of this is like, with the randomness that I started this podcast with, is the theme of this podcast is quite random. But what you heard me do at the beginning, that is me gearing up to start talking about something. I just start saying whatever comes into my mind, and I don't hit record yet. Once I get going, I hit record, but I let you in on what it's like when I'm getting geared up to a podcast. You know, something I noticed from, I went to Texas recently, as many of you know, and I have family that lives there in Dallas. And something I noticed recently was, actually I noticed it a long time ago when I first moved here to Jacksonville, Florida, which is North Florida. And I noticed that when I would say hi to people, when I would greet a dude on the street that I didn't know too well, maybe it was my neighbor, I would move my head up, like, hey, what's up, right? And everybody around here would move their head down, like to bow down a little bit, like down, like you nod downward. And I didn't realize for maybe years that that was offensive. Just that little move of me moving my head up was offensive to people. It wasn't offensive to the point where they're going to like tweet about it or anything like that, excuse me. But it was a bad etiquette, let's put it that way. So I went back to Texas, I went back to Dallas, and then I realized that me putting my head down was kind of awkward to them. Because over there, like it seems like once you get to the middle of the United States, down here in the bottom half of the United States, you get to the middle and you keep going west, people move their head up when they say, what's up? Hey, what's up, dude? Right? But when you go from there, somewhere around there towards the east, people put their head down. Like, you know, so to me, it represents on the east, it represents submissiveness. And on the west, the Wild West, it represents some sort of more like empowerment or greeting. Maybe it's more threatening to move your head upwards when you say hi. But you know, I don't know what to tell you. I just felt like recording, but here it is. You know, people have been talking about jobs getting automated and things being automated, and that jobs are going to be lost to automation. But nobody says exactly what jobs are going to be lost. They don't say all the jobs at McDonald's or all of the manufacturing jobs here at such and such a place or all the warehouse jobs. Like it's in the future, you see it in the future, but nobody gets specific as to what jobs. The only one they get specific with is driving. That there's going to be self-driving cars and all the dudes and ladies that deliver for Papa John's and Domino's. Let's face it, it's mostly dudes. And UPS workers, etc. That those things are going to be automated somehow. So things that involve long truck driving jobs. I mean, truck driving jobs, like for long hauls, are going to be automated. I have a solution to all of this stuff. How about if you just stop wanting so much shit and then things don't have to get automated, because then nobody will be buying all kinds of crap from Amazon all the time. You know how often the Amazon boxes stop at my house for me? like twice or three times a year, maybe three times a year. That's why I'm gonna be like my dad now. That's why y'all should be like me. If everybody was like me, then the world would be a great place. You feel that way, don't you? Don't you feel that way? Like if you got some sort of logic going on in your mind, you feel that way, don't you? Like you're like, if everybody was like me about this, and you know what? You're probably right. You're probably right if you're like 40 and you've been through a lifetime of knowing about something. Everybody's an expert at something. So you might actually have a good point there if everybody was like you, like that. Maybe I could start a social network uh, that would be called like me, and it could fail, and everybody could talk about what they know that everybody should be like them about. Or maybe I can make a Reddit post where it says, "What should everybody be like you about?" Maybe I'll go do that right now, so people could totally ignore it. So what about me though? Like what if everybody was like me about certain things? Oh yeah, like shopping. If people shopped the way that I shop, there would be a lot less trucks on the road, and the economy would probably tank. But it's a shame that the economy is reliant on us buying stuff. That's why everything breaks, because it's made to break. Not that they necessarily make it, even though they have done that. Who is they? You know who they are. They're in the spaceships. No, not really. But you know who they are. You know what I'm talking about. It's just shorthand. I don't have to get all into it. But they've done that before where planned obsolescence happens. However, it's not so much that. That's not the case so much anymore. Now it's just our way of life. Now it's just a philosophy that you're going to build something that is going to break because people are going to want a new one or the new version anyway. Except for Apple computers. Some of those are built to last 80 years, like the single aluminum forged case, even though they know that you're just going to buy another one like in a few years. Why even, why even put the time into building such a work of art when it comes to durability, right? But it's like our culture is building itself to disappear. Drywall everywhere and disappearing messages on your cell phone, which is not even a tangible thing already. It's just a bunch of light pixels appearing on your phone. That's the dual layer of, what is it called? Of ephemeralness. If that's a word, if it's not a word, it's a word now, ephemeralness. Because words got to start somewhere. Words have to, like, every word that you say started somewhere. Somebody had to say it first, right? So I'm all for inventing words. You need to invent words. Words are here to convey intention. And if you know what I mean, I could say bluggity goop, and if you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I mean. You feel me? You got it? So we seem to be, maybe this is how the Mayans and the Egyptians disappeared, right? Maybe the Mayans more, because that's more mysterious. They developed a technology and they had their own version of technology where they decided to start making everything out of drywall. They were like, hey, fuck these stone pyramids that are going to last 10,000 years. Let's do the drywall thing. So we have disappearing everything, disappearing messages on the phones, ephemeral products, friendships. Do they last still? Attention spans are disappearing. We're going into the ether, folks. We're going into the ether. And I'm not going there with you. I'm going to stay right here. Even if I look like a caveman, I'm just going to put my stake down, my spear, and sit on my porch. But you know what? Maybe, just maybe, this is all some sort of enlightenment. Like, we realize that everything is temporary. So our social philosophy is adhering to that. And I sure could use a beer right about now. So what I have going on this week, I have a bunch of gigs this week. I'm playing at this place called Cantina Laredo um, at the town center in Jacksonville, Florida. And I recently heard that, well, actually, forget about that, what I was going to say. But yeah, I have a pretty busy week ahead of me. Tomorrow I'm playing at a cancer center downtown, and that's with an organization, Body and Soul, where musicians play for hospital patients at their bedsides and in groups, and music is good in the hospitals. I keep meaning to upload some recording that I have of me at the hospitals. If I could find it when I stop talking into this microphone, maybe I could put it in here somewhere. You know what? I'm pretty sleepy. Not quite that sleepy, but I got to get some stuff done before I go to bed. Now, the Trump thing. What you want? I got to talk to you a little bit about the Trump thing. What can I say to you? I mean, uh, everybody's talking about this. I'm tired of it. Right here, I am talking about it. I'm tired of it. But I'm tired of reading about it, hearing about it. I'm going back into living under a rock when it comes to that. And whenever something big happens, then I'll come out and I'll be like, what? What was that? It was an explosion? Like, what happened? You know, that's how I'm going to do that one. Music-wise, I want you to know that I am on the last page of Bach's BWV or BVW. Anyway, Bach's Fugue 1000 or Fuga 1000. And maybe I should play it for you right now so you know what that sounds like. Of course, it's not going to be the whole thing because I still have the last page that I need to do. I'll play you some of it. And it's very rewarding to do a 7-page Bach piece. That's a long piece, you know. And why, I don't know if you think episode is random or not, but who cares, right? Hey, if you're entertained, I'm entertained. And if you're happy, I'm happy. Here, check out this music. Hey, you know what? That's enough. Ya, basta. I'm failing at this. Hey, man. Thank you for listening. And hey, a lot of you, if you hear this on YouTube, you have to remember that you can download the audio at atlanticradio.blogspot.com. And like everybody else, I'm asking for money. Everybody give me some money. Everybody's asking for money. And you can tip me at atlanticradio.blogspot.com also. All right. Peace. Te quiero. Bye-bye.